7:05 p.m. This is the Mayor and Council Utilities Board, workshop meeting for April 28th, 2014. Let the record reflect that the full council is present with the exception of Councilmember Price. The town manager and the town attorney is also present. And we'll begin this meeting with the proposed approval of the agenda.
Mayor,
Yes.
just for a minute, we have a tram update that's on the
Workshop,
workshop.
we'll move it around.
They would appreciate it if you take that first so they can go home.
Okay, so they want to,
Just put it in there. Take it up.
all right, so guys, we'll,
That's what you said.
I said I wanted to go get a drink.
Why didn't you just
I blame Jim, we want to do the same thing. Short and simple.
Yeah.
okay, so. All right, so we're gonna move the trams over to the utilities board. Any other questions on the agenda
For the utilities?
for the utilities?
Okay, we're gonna do the workshop later.
Yep, correct. All right, so all in favor? All right. Anybody opposed? Okay. Jim?
Cindy and I were tasked with trying to sell the advertisement on the tram for this year. And, but that's how about this time. And I think, Cindy's gonna give you the details in a couple of minutes. I just wanna give you a little quick overview. I think it went very well. I think the business community stepped forward. We still got more work to do, but I think we've had a pretty good start. And I wanted to also say, I thought Stephanie might be here, but Stephanie has grasped this thing and has been a tremendous help to the point where she and Cindy got together and found, what, 8 extra spots? 11 extra spots on the tram, 2 of which Harbor Shack's already taken. So we just wanted to thank her. She's just not here, so if the minutes can show that. She really did a great job of getting in the middle of this and enthusiastically trying to help us out.
So how many spots is that an addition that you guys were?
We added 11 spots. And Cindy's gonna give you the details.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, to date, we have received $8,100 in paid ads, and that's for the 2014 to 2015 tax year. There are 21 local businesses that are advertising. We ask that you support those local businesses. When you see the trams, you'll see which of those businesses have advertised, and we ask that you support them. There are 33 out of 55 ad spots that are filled. So we have a great number of our businesses that are advertising on both trams, that have taken spots on both trams, and that's a wonderful thing to see. So Jim and I, between us, think we can pull another 1,000 or so out of the advertising revenues before the actual tax year starts for this year, and we think we'll be able to up it and hit at least 9,000 in ad revenues. And Jim can tell you a little bit more about tram reservations and spaces.
Right.
and those things for special events.
We have 11 weddings this year. 7 have asked to reserve the tram. 11 that we have at Huntingfield. As always, it's a little goosey. There's no money down, but I think if we do it right, we'll probably generate another couple $1,000s from special events. And Ron, I know you had a couple that are non-wedding associated, so if we could do 2,000 or 3,000 more in events, and that's really good. We'll just have to see how it goes. You know, I mean, they say they want it, but until we get right down to it and they lay a schedule out, yes, no. So if we could get to $11,000 or $12,000 between the ad revenue and the special events, I think that's pretty good. And what I'd like the mayor and council to think about is use this as a financial model. You know, when we talked about the tram a couple of years ago, we all were guessing. I mean, how many riders you're gonna get, how much advertising you're gonna do. You really didn't have a concrete model you could work with. You do now. You know, you've got a 2-year track record on your ridership. You now have a pretty good idea of what advertising and special events can bring in. I think you need to look down the road at how do we improve this system? How do we buy something that's more robust? Bringing that out to Huntingfield is a little bit goosey. I mean, that's a pretty long drive out. I think if you started now, there's transportation grant money available. And if you just started working on it, when it comes time to replace the trams 2 or 3 years down the road, you might say, hey, I can show the state or the federal government, wherever that money comes from, here's my model, here's what I've generated, here's how we pay for it, and to hopefully solicit for some grant money available to make these things into more robust people movers, which I think would be, just draw more people to them. So that's kind of the message we're leaving you with. We got more work to do, but you should get a pretty good financial indication of what we can do with this tram. And then if your ridership holds at like 13,000, whatever it is a year, you know, you got a pretty good idea what you got.
Good.
Okay.
Well, I think it's safe to say that the fares over the past couple of years, they were over projection, and we were fortunate to see that. And
Yeah.
there was a need. I mean, there was obviously a need for this type of resource to the town. But now that we've got, what is the element, the other sizable element of the financial aspect, which is the advertising, if it all does play together, and it can be some, you know, as we move out, you know, we're past the curve and we're moving into a model, then this is great. Cindy, I would bounce this off of you. We have had at our past meetings, the audience, members of the audience has on occasion, have put forth, thoughts as to what we could better do to secure the monies, as opposed to just, you know, a dollar. Where can we put those, so at the end of the night, when there's upward of a couple $100 per driver, you know, how do we know that those monies are not just secured, but I guess the message we're getting is accounted for. We
Right.
think our drivers certainly have a lot of integrity, but we don't want to put a liability back on them either.
Right.
So if you could
Right.
think through what
We'll
could
talk
be
through.
some paths on
Yeah,
that.
you know, there was a thought at one time, actually, my wife brought it up, is that businesses would sell a token. In other words, it's not money, you know, Java Rock would buy 100 tokens. And when someone gives me $1, I'll give them a token, they can ride it. That way, there's no money moving around the business, but then you really gotta get the harbor shacks and the watermans to say, we'll buy 200 tokens or whatever the heck it is,
And the marinas.
and the
Right,
marinas.
and the
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's
Oh,
where the ridership is coming
Or-
from. You really can't take her out.
We were off to a
Sorry.
great start with the presentation,
Sorry.
Cindy.
I so apologize, I meant to do that
I mean,
earlier.
that is an option that you could, if they would all participate.
Well, that seems to be a reoccurring, when we hear it,
Right.
we do hear that as a common type of response. And Brian has indicated that could be a means to get away from the money and put it into a, you know, if it's a,
Sure.
you know, a chip or that sort of
Right.
thing.
Right.
For example, for the events, I've asked Stephanie to just drop a little coupon, because when we have a wedding going on, I couldn't tell you how many trips they come out. It's $30 a trip, but I will bill the wedding people and I will pay. So your driver will get it. I've told the brides and the grooms, you must tip the drivers, but in terms of the payment, it's gonna be from me to you. And I just asked Stephanie, just have something that the last trip, the guy writes down 6. So, because I do all my totaling with the brides and the grooms that Sunday morning, I just need to know the number. And then they'll pay me and I'll pay you.
Good.
So we keep that money out of it. But on this daily ridership, the idea of a token could work, but you really gotta get the marinas and the restaurants to buy into it.
Well, I think it sounds as if the advertisement is really moving out. And I think what now has given the assurance to the B&Bs and to the marinas is the fact that there is a need, and it's showing the last couple of years in the ridership. So I think, you know, again, you've got something that you can sell now and look, we prefer to do this type of transaction, and you've got some stock now that you can go to and say, this, just thoughts.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there are a number of smaller towns in, waterfront towns in Maryland and Virginia who have transportation, have trolleys. And we happen to participate and visit some of those towns in our trips around the bay on our old wood boats. So we'll be between Jim and I, we've decided we'll investigate some of those and what their models are and what their ridership, how their ridership has developed over the years. And we'll bring that back at a future.
And let me just say that in closing, the tram is extremely important. I mean, it really is. You know, for anyone that has a business downtown, if you don't have the tram, you are not gonna have the same kind of participation in the businesses from the marinas, because people can't get there. Now, you take a 95-degree day in August, they're not gonna walk a mile and have it 2 miles in that heat. They're not gonna do it. They're gonna either take the tram in or they're not gonna come into town. So, I mean, I'm sold on the tram, and I think that we didn't have much trouble convincing the other businesses of the same thing.
Good. Okay, well, thank you.
All right,
for coming out.
thanks.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks.
You can see what it's done. Yep.
Oh, I was hoping to leave it.
So,
There's nothing in it. Real estate,
Well,
forget it.
Let's wait till about the warranty for the annual budget. Yep.
Put it in a fund there.
Let's go ahead and move on.
I need one.
All righty, moving on.
The rain.
Approval of minutes from the March 31st, 2014 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the mayor and council utilities board minutes for March 31st, 2014 as presented.
Okay, we have a motion by Susan, do we have a second? Second. Second by Brian, any corrections to the minutes? All in favor? All right, okay, here. Next is sewer allocation report.
Detail of outstanding final allocation, 89,273. Total gallons per day remaining, 77,027, which indicates no change since last month.
Any questions of the sewer allocation report? Next is sewer credit, Hamlet, lot 1.
Yeah, you received a request from Bronner Management. They own the first house on the left going into Hamlet. And over the winter, they had a busted pipe. Airmen went down there and visually saw the problem, turned the water off for them. They've supplied
Did I get it?
copies of the checks where they paid to have it fixed. And they've requested a sewer credit. And I don't know whether,
Did we do that, Ron? Have we done that past?
what's that?
Sewer credits on some.
We give sewer credits for water that doesn't go down. If it's a broken pipe and it doesn't go down in the sewer, we give a sewer credit, which is 2/3 of the overage. They still pay the minimum bill.
And that's what they're.
And
that's what this
then they
is.
want the sewer credit for the water over that. The fourth page in, I think, it's a sewer, it would be a sewer, their bill was $1,048.50. They went through 111,000 gallons of water. Nobody was living there. It wasn't noticed till it was actually coming out the foundation, I think. And,
Is this a one-time?
yeah, that's what the policy is right now. It's a one-time deal.
Ronnie, usually
They've never
we'll
asked us probably.
get like a plumber bill with this usually. Do you have?
Well, they put a check in here with who they paid, which was maybe you didn't get a copy of that. I've got, Relay Mechanical is who they paid to have the thing fixed. There's a invoice, I got a copy of the invoice from Relay Mechanical. It says frozen water line at Billy and Jamie Bronner's. Turn water off at street to avoid high water bill if burst. Haven Harbor ran into reinforced insulated water line coming out of the ground, turned water back on. There's an invoice from them and the checks where they paid it.
Ron, I've never seen it done like this before. Usually it's a letter from the person. This is from Lacey.
No, well, Lacey didn't have it. Maybe you should see this.
Okay.
This is
Yeah,
a
but
letter
this is
from them.
Lacey.
This is a letter from them to us, to the town, requesting the sewer credit. And it, actually, that packet is exactly like we've always done it in the past, which is to show proof of the break. The town boys witnessed the break. They paid Relay Mechanical to fix it.
Well, I mean, as far as I've never seen it done this way, where the request is not on their paper.
And whose paper?
on their letterhead or.
I've
on their-
never
on the
seen it
copy.
come in our packet where Lacy writes up the request.
Guys,
Right.
that's it right there.
Right, right, I see it now.
So Ronnie, the total amount of gallons that went through, or I guess the credit that went through the sewer system is.
It was 111 gallons they use, and you take 15,000 away from that, and the sewer credit's on, the credit is on the sewer portion of anything over 15,000 gallons, which was in that case quite a bit.
Okay, which is 96,000. Okay, we have a motion on this?
Make a motion that, as a one-time, credit, sewer credit, as we usually do with the, given the proof. Susan, you good with that? Mom, you good with that?
Well, yeah, I mean, 95 sounds all right. I mean, you're giving a motion, you're applying a credit to what is their request, which is their.
It was a one-time,
Mhm.
knowing it's a one-time, sewer credit. It'd be given as, say, yes, I don't see anything wrong with their request, because it did not go into the sewer. It just came out of the ground, right, Ron?
That's correct.
And presented, so sewer credit of $624 will be applied this quarter, so that's just not used.
Okay, so we have a motion by Brian Nestor, Lacy, to go ahead and grant, the Warner Company a sewer credit, in the amount of $624, a one-time arrangement for the property on 51 Havenport Drive. Do you have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a second by Brian Jones. At this point, is there any additional discussion? They put in a, I guess, a repair to do their dishwasher. I didn't need to put that in there, so. So was this part of the Water Lake problem?
The leak was broke in the house and it was running out the foundation. I don't know where it was broke. The boys went down there and witnessed the break.
Right.
Doesn't home insurance cover something like the dishwasher?
The bill,
I'm not sure if that.
the credit has nothing to do with the plumbing work done. The plumbing bill is just to prove there was a break.
Just the water that went down the store, is what we're getting credit for.
It's
We
not
didn't
a
go
credit.
through our now on the ground. So they got the water bill, but they didn't get they don't get charged the sewer bill because it didn't go into the
They're not trying to
system.
get reimbursed for the dishwasher.
No.
No.
Proof that,
Okay.
Or
That's
typically,
kind of strange.
typically what happens is when you, and what we did not have, and Ron, he's provided us with now what we need, and that's often how we vote. If there's a water leak, and often enough, it's an outside spigot, and that's most likely one of the common causes where it doesn't go into the sewer. And what I was just pointing out was, there is the bill, as Ronnie mentioned, from Relay Mechanical, but there was just also a Morton's Appliance service bill in here.
Which doesn't affect the sewer credit at all.
Okay, we're just trying to
It
throw
was just
out
what they had
all
fixed
the
here.
different charges they got and prove they had hardship.
They are paying for the water use, but not the sewer charge for it going down, because it's not going out to a sewer plant, it just made the grass greener. Like we need that in the next 2 or 3 days.
Okay, any additional discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Next is North Point Marina. I put this on the agenda because at the last meeting, or the meeting before, we had a letter from North Florida Marina making a request to